Welcome back. Tuesday is a special day for one of the world's most favourite actors. It's the day the man who first made James Bond a star celebrates his 90th birthday.
We all know his second name was
Bond. James Bond.
Sean Connery, voted sexiest man of the 20th century, whose first wife was Australian actress Diane Salento, the man who immortalised a womanising, vodka-drinking British spy with a licence to kill. And who somehow played a Russian submarine commander with a Scottish accent.
Is the American turning to follow us?
Those are just a few spikes in the life of an icon of our times.
You have interfered with my plans for the last time, Mr. Bond.
It's very dangerous to fire guns in planes. I even had to warn Pussy about it.
Like so many who made it to the top, so-called instant success followed a long climb taken in little steps. Born in Edinburgh, he was a milkman, joined the Navy, drove a truck, was a lifeguard, an artist model and a coffin polisher. And something of a tough guy. Attacked by a gang, he beat them up. Good training for the movies. Drifting around the fringes of theatre earned him small roles on stage. Billed as tall, dark and handsome, film parts followed, like The Longest Day about the Normandy landings.
Do you hear that bit, Jesus? Dunkirk. Did you hear it, Clough? Sure, he was still at school at the time.
While Connery was making a film with big star Lana Turner, her boyfriend, American gangster Johnny Stompanato, thought they were having an affair and pulled a pistol. Connery knocked him flat on his back. Singing didn't scare him either.
Oh, she is my dear, my darling one, her eyes so sparkling full of fun.
His big breakthrough came in 1962, picked to play 007 in the first Bond film Dr. No. Author Ian Fleming had his doubts, had a change of heart, then concocted a Scottish heritage for Bond in the following novels.
Did you use your sail all the way up to the reef here?
Of course, I always do.
The legend was born. Then came the golden years of Bond, From Russia with Love, Goldfinger, Thunderball, You Only Live Twice, and Diamonds Are Forever.
Do you expect me to talk?
No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die.
Bond, spy and sex symbol had the trimmings of an international playboy. The right car, the right drink.
A martini, shaken, not stirred.
And he was matched with beauties of the day like Ursula Andress and Jill St. John.
So far, so good.
The movies were sexy, with a deliberate touch of corny.
What are you doing here? Looking for shells?
No, I'm just looking.
After a layoff, Connery returned to the Bond role in 1983 with Never Say Never Again.
How reckless of me. I made you all wet.
Yes, but my martini's still dry.
Are there things now you can't do as James Bond that you could do 22 years ago? I mean, you know what I mean. Go to hell with it. You don't bring in stunt people for the love scenes is what I'm trying to tell you.
No.
Evading the typecast label, Connery had no trouble playing lead characters in other landmark films. He teamed up with best chum Michael Caine in The Man Who Would Be King.
Can you forgive me?
That I can, and that I do, Danny.
The Russia House was one of his finest roles alongside Michelle Pfeiffer.
The marks of the machine gun fire in the old buildings in the outskirts.
I love you. All my failings were preparations for meeting you.
And then that submarine adventure.
Verify our range to target. One ping only.
Life away from the movies had its own elegance. He was married for a decade to glamorous Australian actress Diane Salento. His second wife, French-Moroccan artist Micheline Roquebrune. A lust for golf, a knighthood, an undying love of Scotland, and forever linked to his alter ego.
My name is Bond, James Bond.
Charles Croucher with that profile there. Well, now to Australian film critic Giles Hardy. And as he gets ready to celebrate his 90th birthday, Giles, where is Sir Sean Connery living and how is his health?
Well, look, as befits the international man of mystery, the answer to that is a little bit, we're not entirely sure. He officially retired from acting in 2010, and Sir Thomas Sean Connery, that's his full name, there's a lot of rumours about where he's been and what he's been up to in that time. There was, in 2013, what was basically some very ill-conceived rumours regarding mental health, maybe some Alzheimer's. They actually started with an interview Michael Caine did in Germany. He quickly turned around and said he'd clearly been mistranslated and that his very good friend, Sir Sean, was in very good health. And he's been photographed very recently. We believe he's probably living in the Bahamas. He lives basically on a golf course there, literally and figuratively. He's probably playing golf to celebrate his 90th.
How lucky. A milkman, he was also in the Navy, he was a truck driver, he was a coffin polisher. Stardom certainly wasn't handed to him on a plate.
No, look, Sean Connery, he started life very working class in Edinburgh. No surprise to learn it all began in Scotland, of course. All of those roles, right, he actually joined the Navy at 16, got 2 tattoos, one of which says Mum and Dad. But, he tried a bunch of things, had to come out of the Navy with a stomach ulcer. He was, as you say, a coffin polisher, rumoured to have slept in the coffin some nights when he couldn't find somewhere to stay. But he was also doing bodybuilding. And again, a little bit of mystery about his former life as much as his current life. He either was 3rd place in the Mr. Universe competition in 1950, 51, 52, 53 even, or he didn't quite qualify for the tallest man competition. Somehow he was doing bodybuilding. Then he was a model, perhaps a nude model, we're told. Then he went on to theatre. Then he did do a film, Another Time, Another Place in 1958. But then, of course, 1962, a little film called Dr. No was trying to fill a little role called James Bond.
But James Bond author Ian Fleming, he had his doubts about Sean Connery. Why wasn't he so sure about him playing the role of James Bond 007?
Well, to quote Sean Connery, he wasn't sure because he was a snob. In the words of Sean Connery, he basically didn't like that he was Scottish. He thought he was too working class. Ian Fleming, who, of course, was very much styled James Bond after himself, he saw Cary Grant or David Niven as the sort of man that he wanted playing Bond. And even in the audition, the director and Broccoli Sr., the Broccoli family famously being the producers of Bond, they weren't quite sure until he walked out. And to quote them, his panther-like walk as he left the audition convinced them that this was the man to play James Bond.
And briefly to wrap us up, Giles, he did plenty of other movies, but really if you do James Bond, do you also have to accept that you're typecast?
Look, let's say he certainly tried other things, didn't he? He was Highlander. He was Indiana Jones's father. He was a Russian submarine captain with a Scottish accent. He did absolutely everything, even turned down Gandalf in Lord of the Rings. But look, he is James Bond. He's recently been voted still everyone's favourite James Bond. He was People magazine's sexiest man of the century. But he is, and always will be, Bond, James Bond.
Giles Hardy, thank you.
Thank you.